Hello, and welcome to another episode of Give It a Year with me, Jenny Q, to my podcast diary, a pocket of cyberspace that is filled with positivity, a space where I share ideas, contemplations, reflections, thoughts, and art sometimes, stories, and commentary sometimes, depending on what's going on in the world. This is my podcast diary, and I'm happy that you've chosen to sit here with me for a little bit and listen and hang out. Today's episode is called Happy Old Habits. Now, before I jump into my episode, I do want to point out that I do have 4 podcast promises that I offer to you, my audience, and to myself. If you want to know what those are, just pop on down and read in the description. I found it was making my actual episodes long and maybe a little boring for people. So they're there if you're interested, and I do sometimes touch on them. So today's episode is more of a sort of a commentary, less of a reflection, a little bit of a reflection. I will try and get through it fairly quickly. And I am still trying to figure out the whole podcast format, what I want to do and that kind of thing. And I've created it as a diary, so there's lots of room for forgiveness and playing around. So, as I finish that up, I am now going to fade out this music, and then we are going to jump into the episode. Hello again, my name is Jenny Q. And this is my pocket of positive space in the cyber world where you can come to get away from all of the anger, the fear, the division, the work, the busyness, the algorithms, the commercials, the noise, the whatever it is that's out there that's just exhausting your mind and brain and soul and body. This space is meant to be fun and light and interesting, and maybe a little darker, some not dark, but contemplative, I suppose. But, today's episode, today's entry for my diary is obviously inspired by the fact it is now 2026. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first Tuesday of the new year. Because as you know, every week I come back on Tuesday for a new episode. So today, like I said, it's going to be a bit off the cuff. And the idea was out of the idea of the whole New Year's resolutions. And I realized that myself personally, I have not actually made New Year's resolutions for the last 2 or 3 years. What I have had are New Year's goals. And I think it's important to throw in a distinction in there, in that a resolution, I think, in someone's mind, is it must be done, it's got to be done. And when it's a resolution, it's the idea that you need to be better and bigger and faster and more impressive and be an improvement, you know? And I'm not saying any of that's bad, but what that implies is as the new year begins, you perhaps ended the new year not well, or you are not enough, or I don't know, it's just this whole hustle and bustle, and it drives me crazy too when I pay attention to things specifically in the healthcare field and fitness, where gyms and online things, they target you, and you know, they're like, be a new you and come to the gym and we'll give you this special, and if you just drink this shake, and if you Tai Chi walking, and you know, whatever the stuff is. And I'm not saying don't do those things, but it kind of irks me a little bit that everyone has these high energy promotions. And I'll tell you why it bothers me. It's because the last little while, and going into my New Year's this year, one of my new goals and one of my new habits I am instilling is I do a morning meditation now. Not long, 5 to 10 minutes. I wake up, I do my morning prayers, I do my morning thing, do my gratitudes, and then I do a meditation. And in that meditation, it provides me an opportunity to slow down and to breathe and to think and to do all of that without being connected to technology. And I've been doing it about a week now, and since New Year's, so about 6 days, and I've actually truly noticed a difference. And in my space, I have also resumed listening to Jim Rohn a lot more. And one of my New Year's resolutions, goal, is to read 12 books, so a book a month. And the one I started this month is called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And in it is actually written by Deepak Chopra. And in the first chapter, he talks about what I was talking about, like silence. And when you do that, it activates a potentiality, like a pure potentiality, an energy. And it's true, because I started reading the book after I started doing the meditation. I actually did the meditation before I started this book. And one of the first recommendations he has in here is to meditate. And he offers the metaphor or the imagery of, imagine you're on a pond, a really quiet pond, and in your meditation, when you have a thought, it's a stone and you throw it in, and then you can see where those ripples go and where they go and what edges do they touch and all that kind of thing. Now, if you were to take that same stone and try and throw it into Lake Erie or the ocean when the waves are crashing, you're not going to notice that stone. You're not going to notice that thought. And I think that's interesting as an idea, because we all have thoughts. We all have ideas of things we want to do. And to get it back to originally what I was saying, you can get swept up into the hustle and the bustle of, I need to have a New Year's resolution because everyone else has a New Year's resolution, and I've got to be shinier and thinner and healthier and wealthier and all of these things. And to me, that's a resolution. Oh my gosh, I got to do it, got to do it, got to do it. There's that energy of got to do it, got to do it. Whereas a goal, I feel, does not need to happen on New Year's. I talked about this in my last episode, where your New Year's can start anywhere, whatever day works for you and when you're ready. But I also, to sort of extend what I was talking about last time, I also don't think goals have to end when January 1st hits. If you're in the midst of a goal and you're doing well, then continue it on and keep pursuing. And maybe New Year's is a time to reflect and adjust. And this is when I go back to Jim Rohn, and he has a wonderful thing he always talks about, and he talks about the seasons of life, like the seasons in nature. You can't change them. You can't change the order, but if you know what the seasons are and what they're for, you can use them. And New Year's in Canada happens in winter. Winter is a season of rest and recovery and hibernation. And Deepak Chopra in his book is talking about get back to nature, look at nature, follow nature. Nature knows what she's doing, and I tend to agree with that. And so the reason I'm creating this episode today is I want to offer to you, throughout all my ramblings, if this was an actual diary page, I would have writing all over the place because I have so many thoughts today. But maybe instead of, thinking, oh my God, I have to do this, whatever the resolution is that's in your mind, think of your goals and what you did achieve in 2025, what drove you in 2025, what motivated you, and celebrate New Year's not just for what you're going to do in the coming 12 months, but to reflect, appreciate, and celebrate what you achieved or what you survived. For some people, 2025 was probably a really hard year. And Sometimes surviving is a big thing to celebrate. If you've lost a house, if you've lost a job, if you've lost someone important in your life, like, just because it's January 1st does not mean you need all this hype. And I think Christmas is kind of the same for me. I feel like marketing and businesses have made holidays and these moments too hyped up. And so yeah, listen to nature and look at the seasons. So winter is the time to rest, recoup, and hibernate. And January is partway. It's getting closer to the spring and further from the autumn. And the spring is the time to plant. So New Year's maybe is the best time to sit and take this time slowly and, in comfort, and think about those metaphorical seeds you're going to plant in the new year. What do you want to harvest? What do you want to do? What do you want to create? What do you want to be? Where do you want to grow? What are all these things? And it doesn't have to be huge things. I want to read 12 books because I want to expand ideas and thoughts and, take time to learn the different things. And so in order to achieve that, I'm going to read 12 books. So those are my goals. 1 book a month. I have lots of other goals. I have my 2 big goals, which I won't bore you with. But the other thing, sorry, I'm going to flip back and forth here because I'm so excited, and I am so tempted to go back and listen to what I've already said because I don't want to repeat myself, but maybe it's worth repeating. In the book, Deepak talks about silence, and I think one of the best times in winter, I grew up in Ottawa, and if you don't know Canada at all or whatever, Ottawa is a very snowy, cold place, but it's beautiful. I mean, all of Canada is beautiful, but I can remember as a kid, there were times where our house was, the big street light was there, and I can remember going and standing in my front yard in my red snowsuit. I remember this snowsuit, in my red snowsuit, and I would be done up, and I'd have a scarf, right up to my chin, and my toque pulled down with my hood of my snowsuit over. And I can remember standing there, and it was dark, and the street light was on, and I would look up, and it would be snowing. And I can remember how magical it felt to me just to be standing there. There was nothing else going on. It was just me looking up and standing and maybe sticking my tongue out and catching a snowflake or two. And it was peaceful. And I just felt it so at ease. And I would go inside and it would be great. And so I feel this world has too much noise in it. There's too much distraction. I fall into it as well. I scroll, and that's one of the reasons I started doing meditation in the morning. I do that instead of I've replaced the habit of scrolling in the morning with my meditation. And it is helpful. It is making me feel better, and I have so many ideas for my art and how to share it and things I want to do this year. So, there is a place for silence, and I ramble. I ramble. So I do want to wrap this up because I think I've said what I want to say, but I'm going to recap it one more time. And then I'm going to talk about the question I always leave you guys with, and then I'm going to sign off. So, in a quick summary, basically what I'm saying is, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. Perhaps look at New Year's not as a race to have a resolution to go and do and be something bigger, better, and more beautiful or whatever. Maybe instead of thinking of New Year's as a new beginning, think of it as a continuation of goals that matter to you, and to celebrate things that were accomplished, experienced, and enjoyed in 2025. And take a moment in the season of rest to reflect. And as you reflect in that season, plan what seeds you're going to plant in 2026, metaphorically, of the goals you want to either release, continue, or maybe there is a new goal. Maybe there is a new adventure ahead for you. And take the time and follow the model of Mother Nature in this season. And take this little time to rest and hibernate and think about what it is you're going to plant. Because you can't plant right now. And I think a lot of people try and do that with all their resolutions. And a lot of people fail because they're fighting the natural order of things. Winter is rest, recovery. Spring is when you wake up and you plant. Summer is when you guard that, you feed it and you fertilize it and you nurture it. And then in the autumn you harvest it and then it goes all over again. And then, Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's. And I think that is how I would like to offer for you how to think of New Year's. Maybe less about resolution and more about goals and gratitude. Think of New Year's as not a new beginning, but as a happy celebration of old habits carried into new journeys and new adventures. Because I guarantee you that everybody who's listening, if you're over the age of 10, there are things that you do well and things that you have brought into this life and things that you have done that you don't have to replace and renew and redo. You're doing them great. And you can keep doing them. Just because it's January 1st doesn't mean you have to stop it. Just reflect on it. Adjust it. Add to it. Or you can drop it. And you can't keep doing everything your whole life, right? Anyway, I hope what I've shared tonight makes some sense to somebody somewhere. And so I'm going to bring my little bit of music back. I love the music part of this. There we go. I'm actually not sure about the track I picked tonight. I don't know. Give me some feedback if you want. Anyway, that sounded very spacey. Anyway, I want to leave you with this question. And it's going to sort of have two parts, but it's really just one question. And one question I want to ask is, what will you do, or what do you want to do in 2026? What are you going to do in the next 12 months? What's got you revved up? And so, is it going to be something truly new? Are you going to try a new adventure, a new fitness thing, whatever? Or are you going to take time this season to pause, reflect, and continue on with what you started in 25 because it's so great, or it needs work, or it needs adjustment? Or is it a mix of the two? What do you want to do in 2026? And as I said at the beginning of this episode or this entry, I do feel there's a lot going on, and so in the world. I don't ever want to make this a super political podcast or anything, but having Venezuela freed by President Trump this past weekend has caused ripples throughout the world. And there's a lot of division over it, there's celebration over it, there's a lot of talk back and forth, and social media is blowing up, and it's kind of overwhelming for me. And so it has reinforced actually one of my goals, which is to share my philosophy, which is to share your love, share your smile, and share your laughter. Because I believe a lot of what's happening in the world right now is propelled by fear. And I'll be honest, there's not a lot of us can do about what's going on in the world. That's in the hands of the people we've elected, or the dictators who have taken over, or the elites who have the money and the influence. But we all have control and power over three things in our lives. And that's the smiles we have, the love we share, and the laughter we can have with another person. And you don't have to have a huge platform to make a difference. I truly believe that, and that's why I spend so much time talking about this every episode. And I've actually started to create clothing and textile items in something I call walking art. I'll tell you more about that another time. And I have a little logo now that has the share your love, share your laughter, share your smile. So please, as we roll into a new year, know that you have 3 incredible gifts you can offer. Anyone, anytime, any place where you see fear slipping in or someone having a tough day, we can make a difference in the world. And it could be only the difference of the world of one person, but even that's pretty magical and awesome. So, from my heart to everyone, Happy New Year. Let's see what the next 12 months bring. And on that, I say, have a great, amazing rest of your day, whatever's left of it, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Talk to you later.